National Broadband Policy is a document or policy put together by the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy with conjunction with NCC. I think they're trying to bring out some policies and making sure that by year 2025, it's a program that is designed to start. I think it started in 2013, implemented in 2019, and the roadmap to 2025 that drives it. So it says, okay, by 2025, we want to have minimum download speed and maximum download speed per user in the urban areas and in the rural areas. For the urban areas, I think they're doing 25 Mbps, okay, and for the rural areas, 10 Mbps. Also, the policy goes into a whole lot of other details, and it's built around, I think, 4 key pillars, which are demand drivers, funding, infrastructure, and policy. Yeah, I got it. All right, so those are the 4 pillars of which the National Broadband Policy thrives on. Okay, so by and large, my personal opinion is a policy that is a welcome policy to all, and it's something that I want the federal government to make sure it comes to fruition. In terms of infrastructure, you know, in the telecom industry, infrastructure is something that just needs to evolve every now and then. So, yeah, we are the infracos, the operators, and everybody, the regulators, they're all trying their best to make sure it meets the demands, but we're still not there yet because we still have a whole lot of underserved areas. Reasons why they're not there, I mean, they're all, I mean, it's there. In terms of the infrastructure, for example, for broadband penetration, we're looking at probably 3 stratas. We have the middle mile, the first mile, and the last mile. Okay, so they are all, we've started with the first mile. The first mile connects you to the middle mile connects you to the last mile. Now, by and large, it's drills down to having a whole lot of, the last mile is what connects to the user, So in the rural area, the last mile is taking you from the operator's last spot to your house or to your company. That is a kind of challenge. You know, the challenges are diverse in terms of right of way, policies, and all that. So, in a nutshell, answer to your question is, yeah, the infrastructures, they're trying to evolve, but we still have a lot of work to do in terms of the infrastructure. Yeah, definitely. The telecom must ride on some form of infrastructure. You understand? From the handsets to the base station to the transmission line to the other end. You know, telecom is a two-way thing. So if you're holding your phone here, I mean, it's wireless, you're not seeing it, but before you connect to anybody anywhere in Nigeria, in the world, it has to go through a virtual or a physical circuit. So it leaves your phone, gets to the base station, it's wireless, but from the base station, it's connecting to the next one, to the switch, and outside, and to anywhere it wants to go to. So those infrastructures must be there, they must be running. It must have power, it must have security, you know, for this, for the telecoms to be complete. So it's a two-way thing, it's not a one-way thing. So infrastructure has to be spread all over the place. So you have, if you concentrate, if you have all your infrastructure in the urban areas and it's less in the rural areas, you have call drops. So I'm picking my call, you want to call your grandma in the village, if the base stations there are not well serviced or they don't have enough capacity, you have call drops, so you can't reach her. So the infrastructure needs to be well spread, it has to be almost even, you know. So we still have a lot of work to do. I think they go hand in hand, if you want to ask me. Yeah, the government, federal government, if you look at the broadband policy, they have a lot of good intentions. Okay, so the policies are there. For example, if you look down into the document, there's part of the policy states that we need to have, we need to bring down the cost of the handset. You understand? To maybe 25% of the original cost. So if you're looking at this handset now, or yours, we need to be able to get that cost to 25% of the original cost. So how do we do that? We need to manufacture them or assemble them here in Nigeria. That drives down the cost. It's part of the policy. So in terms of policy, I'll say yes. Okay, then in terms of investment, I think the government needs to do more on that. So we need to make the environment enabling enough to attract investments, both foreign or local. We have a lot of rich people in Nigeria and they prefer to keep their money in dollars or take it outside. But if they know that if we invest this money locally, okay, you invest in a growing business, you invest in an app, you invest in someone that wants to assemble phones in Nigeria, it's going to help a lot in terms of meeting the broadband goal of by 2025 we want to have download speeds of 25 Mbps. They are, yeah, I'll say they are reluctant, but I think maybe it's peculiar to Africa or Nigeria because there's something we call patient funding. Okay, so if you are investing in the telecom sector, you need to be patient because telecom evolves. So, for example, we are probably in Africa or Nigeria where you probably are used to being traders. So I want to invest $50 million, but I want to start seeing my return in the next 1 year or 2 years. No. Elon Musk started investing in Tesla. He sold that in PayPal, put all his money in Tesla, into research. And it took him a long time, maybe 5-6 years before they made their first car, the first electric car. So if you want to invest in the telecom industry, you need your funds need to be patient, all right? You keep investing. Telecom evolves. So the switch, the equipment you bought last year, the 2 years time they are obsolete. The manufacturer has upgraded. You need to change them. So you need to keep on pumping money. But you see your returns, but it has to be spread over time. So I think a thing of maybe our culture, we maybe might not be that patient enough to wait for 2, 3, 4 years. Yeah, investment culture, for us in this part of the world. But for telecoms, you need to wait. You need to bring in the money. You need to keep spending, grow your infrastructure, upgrade your infrastructure, while you watch your return on investment. For governments, organized private sector, yes, they are meeting up. They are meeting up in a whole lot of the set targets, but at some point they are not. I'll give you an example. Majorly, probably in terms of funding and policies. So the policies are being set on the federal level. Federal government comes up with NCC. They sit down. The NCC sits down with other sectors. They come up with the policy and a few people from the private sector. But when it trickles down, all right, it doesn't work that way per se. So a good example is right of way, which is a big hindrance to spreading of the broadband infrastructure because you need to get the right of way before you lay your fiber. Okay, so probably the policy states somewhere that you need to pay 145 naira per meter of fiber you want to trench. Yeah, that's in the federal level. When you come to a state like where we are right now, it's not going to fly. So the state governments, local government, they will see it as a revenue generating venture for them. How can you're a private investor, you're coming to deed, you must pay per meter. You want 145 naira, it's not going to work here. So we all have different policies. If you come to a state like Lagos, you have so many parastatals that are protecting the states. You have the ones that are protecting the environment. This one is here, that one is there. So the policy is being set in the federal level, but when it comes to the different states, they also have their own policies. They also need to generate their internal funds, internal generated revenue. So how does it work? So I think the government on its part, the synergy for me is really not, the handshake is not effective enough. So if a policy is being released in the central, it has to cascade down to the state level. Everybody needs to be on the same page. Everybody needs to understand that, okay, federal government is setting 145 naira. It won't work here. Okay, can we do it 200 naira? Then everybody knows. So organized private sector will not be scared of investing. So they know it's 200 naira. They make their plan, the budget, and they come. Not that federal government says it's this, and when they get here, it's a different ballgame. That's also a deterrence to investment to some people. The effect is that if you look at, if you, I mean, let's do a general statistics or demograph of where they say you should come and do it free of charge. You understand? What's the population density? What's the spending power of these places? Are they urban areas? Are they rural? What? Do you understand? So for an investor, he wants to come into where he knows he's going to get his return on investment fast enough, which brings him back to patient funding. So if the state governments at times they see these things as a kind of partnership with the organized private sector, with the operators, okay, they will know that over time the paradigm shift, the internet, the people in the rural areas too, they need the internet, okay, they need the broadband penetration. So the modern cities are getting saturated. So if you look at it, all the ISPs and the providers, they are everywhere in the big cities, Port Harcourt, Lagos, and doing the right of way thing is extremely expensive. So but here the cities are more populated, they are saturated, population density is high, so tele density is high, so they make more money from here. So but if you tell me that, okay, I don't pay anything for right of way in states, far off, then I know what's the spending power, how many people are there, how many people will pay for these services, you understand? It's a deterrence to them, they really don't want to go there. So that's a trade-off. It's just a matter of a return on investment. How fast can I get my money back? So what kind of services can I deploy in a state like maybe far off in Zamfara? So what kind of services will I do? How many people are there that are willing to pay for broadband of 20,000 or 15,000 naira a month? You understand? So can a million people take up that service every month? That's revenue. So an operator might say, okay, I have a million people that can take this up. Zero right of way, I'm there. But if I do my analysis, my forecasting, and I know that I can't get that much, what's it's the cost of starting the business, low entry, it's small. What's my return on investment? So it's a deterrence. The operators really might not want to go there. But another thing is if the state offers more incentives, yeah, apart from zero right of way. Right of way is just the cost of laying the fiber. After laying the fiber, what next? Okay, are they going to be the biggest spenders? Will they be the off-takers? Are they partners with the business? You understand? So those are some of not that much. I'm not too sure. I mean, telecom facilities are national infrastructures because they really need to be protected. Okay, so if it's enforced from the, maybe NCC enforces that, it's going to be difficult. A truck driver that sees maybe an aerial fiber cable or a duct, a fiber duct, you see people going to steal the duct covering, and anyone just goes there to take it. It's a national. It should be protected. The police should be able to arrest anyone that is vandalizing a duct or a truck breaks a cable, because when you break a single fiber cable, it can throw the whole state into, make it incommunicado. Okay, if probably the fiber doesn't have a ring or a backup to it. So a base station or a switch, these are facilities that are connecting so many, telephone lines, so much data is being passed through it. A lot of things are happening in most of this telecom infrastructure. So they really need to be protected by law. The state needs to make this very, it's a big KPI for them. They need to look into it. From the federal to the state level. NCC, I think, needs to enforce this more. 2023, yeah, I'll say we've really done well. Telecom industry has really done well, especially in terms of data. If you do an analysis by yourself, okay, just analyze how you use data from, let's say, 5 years down the line, you notice that almost every year, your need for data almost doubles or triples, right? Probably you were doing 1 gig 3 years ago. Now, maybe you do 1 gig a month 3 years ago. Now, trust me, you're doing like 10 gig or more. In fact, you can't even keep track of how much data you use anymore, because right now everything is on your phone. You do your Netflix on your phone, you do everything on your phone, so you eat up more data. So that alone tells you that the telecoms sector is thriving. That's one of the sectors that, apart from banks, that declares profit at the end of the year. The major telco. So it's really doing well, and it has come to stay, and it's going to get worse. Trust me, next year your data consumption will also be like ×2 and going further, because everything is coming down to data. Everything is coming down to data. You placed a call to me on your way here. What did you use? You didn't use your normal credit. So with time, everything has to go with data. So it's come to stay. And social media is also there. Can you imagine, have you ever tried for 3 hours without checking your messages? Not your SMS. I'm talking of your Snapchat, Instagram, blah, blah. So it's come to stay. So it's a thriving sector, and we've really done well last year. This year also good. And by God's grace, everything's stable in Nigeria. Things will get better, and more broadband penetration. And going back to the document again, the policy plan, by 2025, okay, the target is to bring a gig of data to something close to 300 naira or less, or 390 thereabout. So and that can only be achieved if you have more providers. The cities are saturated. They are struggling for the people that are here to get customers. The prices will go down. If it stretches further, to the nook and crannies, they're also going to get broadband. They can communicate with us easier. There are so many of these skit makers. There are so many of them there in the rural areas too. They also need data. They need the broadband to bring themselves to the world. So that's the reason. They are there. Everywhere to be urban. Yeah, possible if we have power everywhere. Yeah, because everything still sits on power. So if I activate my office now, I make it smart, and I don't have backup to it, I don't have constant power, then it's not smart anymore. Even if I have broadband here. Okay? So yes, it's very achievable. With the broadband penetration, what's being smart? Mostly being smart is being on the internet. You being able to control whatever you have in your home, your office, by the touch of a button. So it's very, very possible. I know of some people running some projects, trying to get power to rural areas, and at the same time trying to get internet to this place at the same time. So that means my grandma in the village can have solar energy, at the same time have some form of internet. Okay, so I can have my CCTV cameras and send out some things that are smart. I can have I can have Alexa, I can have those gadgets installed in a place, and I can talk to over the internet. As long as there's internet and there's broadband and there's power, we can achieve the smart city.
For more on well-researched and balanced stories, events and interviews across business, tech innovation and lifestyle, please like, share and subscribe to this channel, www.youtube.com/digivationnetwork.